What do you want to talk about?
I love how we're like, oops, we didn't come.
No, I love our spontaneity.
Maybe spontaneity is
Yeah,
a
we can
good
talk about going with the flow and spontaneity. I
spontaneity.
love it. And I love spontaneity.
What?
I love
Sorry.
spontaneity. Spontaneity. Maybe
Spontaneity.
a song. Ooh, I think we could do like a song. Talia has been doing, there's like a math assignment she had to do about
Yeah.
integers, and she had a whole bunch of choices. She could do like a poster board. She chose to do a song. And so she's doing it to an Ed Sheeran song.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
I love math is like, and then integers. No. She originally was Ed Sheeran. Now she's doing Justin Bieber, baby, 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 baby,
Oh, yeah.
baby. Oh, so she's like,
Oh, I know Justin Bieber.
math. I love math. She does like an I love math version to baby.
You know how I feel about spoofs? And
I do. So I'm thinking, I'm feeling
yeah,
a spontaneity spoof coming
Talia
on.
and I are on the same page,
That's a good thing.
100%. Pamela Gold.
Melanie Curtis.
Spontaneity. Boom.
Spontaneity. That's, I mean, you and I, it's an art form.
How do we even jump into spontaneity? Nobody knows.
We're cheesy today.
Nonsense.
Well, on a scale, let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of how spontaneously you live your life, 0 being not at all, 10 being like, woohoo, where do you fall? Like now versus like 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Because this is like an evolution, right?
It's a good question. I
Thank
think,
you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's a great question, Pamela Gold. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for the question.
I'm dying today. Dying. I get pink when I die. Okay, go.
You know, God, it's almost a tough question. I would put myself somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit higher. And I don't think either is better or worse.
No, there's no better or worse, right?
I would say I'm at like a 6 in terms of how spontaneous I am. Like I'm more spontaneous. I think I do better like winging it, as it were. I'm more identified with that. I embrace that so that I don't get stuck in, because I used to be someone who used to really plan everything, really wanted to control everything as a matter of feeling safe in the world and stuff like that. So I've evolved. I feel like I've earned my appreciation and joy inside of like the unpredictability of life. Like that excites me more now than it daunts me.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think, I don't know if we've talked about this before. At this point, I forget what specifically we've talked about.
I know.
But I do think that we're all born somewhere on the spectrum naturally, that we've got this kind of inner comfort zone where we would, choose adventure, choose spontaneity, choose new experiences over choosing the stability and the comfort of not right. I think we're all born naturally somewhere on that spectrum. And then wherever we're born, we have this opportunity to kind of take the best of it and then kind of shore up where the opportunities are for us to get stronger. And like, as a parent, I've got 2 kids. One of my kids, Talia, I know you know my kids, so that's kind of fun. But Talia is more like Roger and definitely is born on the spectrum of wanting kind of the comfort and the control and the stability and kind of the visibility on what's going to happen and having things be planned to feel safer. And she'll choose that. Jessie is like I was as a little person, much more impulsive, much more, spontaneous, adventurous, which there's a lot of pros to that. And there's a lot of cons, which if you look at my life kind of up until like my mid 20s, being impulsive and really kind of embracing the spontaneity, like you can make not the best decisions at times. So
yeah. I think that there's a distinction between like recklessness, impulsivity versus spontaneity.
Yes.
Like they're not exactly the same thing in my mind. Like I don't hear those words as like, the same thing.
No, but it's almost like there's a proclivity, right? Like if you're comfortable with the spontaneity, when you're not perfect, because none of us are perfect. It's like none of us are perfect. None of us are going to be like perfectly centered where we're planning everything perfectly and then allowing spontaneity to kind of flow within whatever, whatever we kind of planned, right? And that's kind of I think where we'll get to in this conversation, kind of the ideal balance between kind of the planning and the goals and the structure, and then allowing kind of flow within that and spontaneity to kind of blossom within that. But like none of us are kind of in that sweet spot naturally, or I mean, maybe some of us are, but I certainly
Maybe.
wasn't. I don't think you were. You sound like you were more kind of on the kind of, I'd rather be more controlled and maybe kind of
Yeah.
sacrifice some of the spontaneity to have that kind of structure and security.
Yeah.
I was on the, I loved spontaneity, and I erred on the side of impulsivity and recklessness, right? And
Right.
it's like, like, and it's like we're there until we're not, and so there's no shame or I mean, there's some embarrassment from some of the stuff I did.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm still
I
working through
mean,
that. Still
everybody,
working through
come on
that.
now. It's all of
college
us.
college people. But yeah, but I think that where we can go in this conversation is like, all right, how do you take wherever you are starting out, like wherever you are on the spectrum of embracing spontaneity, not too recklessly, not too controlling, right? Just in that sweet spot. Where do you kind of first assess, have the self-awareness of where you are, and then how do you work to kind of shore it up to really try to maximize this balance?
Yeah. It's funny. If I think about myself and like where I've come and this and that, like I often joke that I'm a recovering perfectionist. I really just say that so as to help and identify and connect with people who identify with that word of being a perfectionist or
Mm-hmm.
feeling like they have those tendencies. Because what I see often in perfectionist ways is that more white knuckled control of what is in life and what they're doing and having everything planned and all that stuff. Obviously, if we really believe that everything that we plan needs to happen exactly as it's going to, where of course there's tons of
Mess, yeah.
letdown and loss of breakdown of expectations and pain as a result of that. So of course, a full-on unconscious perfectionist, like slanted person, however we got there however we got wired in those ways, that's typically an experience that a perfectionist would have.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I'm going with this is that because I used to be very much, and I obviously, of course, still have perfectionist ways, no question. I'm continuously working on that. And
Sure.
lots of people are, and that's totally normal. That's the whole thing about the work is I see a like skydiving is a good example of that. I see people go to, instead of spontaneous, like healthy, understanding their boundaries of what's good for them per their own values, like
Mm-hmm.
because they aren't seeing it, because the unconscious perfectionist programming is running the show, they are like so tense about the stuff and like, and it's exhausting to live life like that and to feel and be like that and to feel like you have to perform at that level all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That those people tend to, and I say those people, including myself in that collection of people, they tend to go to the fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like perfect, kill it, overachieve, make it happen, control, until of course they're
Yeah.
like,
Burned
fuck
out.
it, I just want to have fun. And
Yeah.
that's where I think recklessness comes in,
Mm.
and unconscious impulsivity, which
Like the
is,
pendulum swings.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is not the healthy kind of spontaneity, which is what I think we're getting to today.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think you nailed it. And surrender is one of the things that I talk about a lot in the book, which kind of goes hand in hand with spontaneity, because it's that like being able to be like, okay, what is in my control, and really kind of give my all to that, and then have the wisdom to know the stuff that's out of my control, and that's where I want to be surrendering and allowing and letting things flow. And as we know, like most of life is out of our control, right? And so that's the sweet spot of where we want to kind of like allow the spontaneity and the surrender. And anything that is in our control, we really want to kind of use all the different techniques that we've talked about in the past, like our goal, willpower, that stuff,
Yeah,
to maximize the choices and action that we take, anything that's in that kind of lane of what is in our control. And
absolutely.
it's the flow of all the stuff with, gosh, there's just an infinite amount of stuff out of our control that we're
Yeah.
going to constantly be interfacing with. And so that's kind of the allowing. And I'm sure you've had days, like there was one day I had last week where My day is always very scheduled. I pack in as much as I can. It was such a funny day because literally everything from my first meeting got messed up. The person had kind of forgotten and was like a half an hour late. And then my next meeting, which was back to back, that person got slammed with something at work and needed to cancel. And they felt awful. And I was like, no, it's fine. Because actually my first thing already. And then the third thing, and like literally everything in my day ended up not going as scheduled, and it all worked out perfectly. And I loved that day because it was such a reminder of this kind of art form that I am now very much kind of practicing being in the flow of being best to schedule my best and maximize whatever it is I'm going to accomplish during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then allow, as things unfold, to be like, wait, is it in my control that this person is a half an hour late? Nope. Is it my control that, oh no, this is actually perfect even? Or is this, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's that allowing. So it's like the and both of doing your absolute best on anything that is within your control. And then the wisdom and allowing of the stuff that is not in your control, allowing that to flow and be spontaneous when a shift happens, when there is a change, when there is a pivot, to
totally.
feel it, recognize it, and go all in on that new direction.
Totally.
It's hard.
Well, as a skill set, I echo every single thing you said. Awesome. It's funny when I think of spontaneity, I also am like, it's fun. It's fucking
That's why
fun.
we're one of the reasons
So
why we're friends, because we're fun.
like it's
We
like
love fun.
fun. So many people, I talk to
We're
people
like
about core
fun.
values. No, I'm serious. Like so many people I feel like forget or like don't even think about, and this is not a bad thing or wrong
Just
thing, none of
is.
that. Like fun, I've said this forever and I believe it. Fun is a value worth prioritizing. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I don't I don't want the experience of life where I fucking white knuckle everything. Thumbs down. How freaking boring is
And
that?
you're not going to do your best work. Like, this.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Oh,
you
it
have
doesn't
that heavy
no.
energy, like
No.
when we're having fun, like fun is love in action. Like fun is like the juicy, like love in action kind of stuff, like enthusiasm,
Totally.
fun. And that's when we do our best work. When we're having fun, the things that we touch, whether it's work, whether it's people, it's infused with that high vibration.
Yeah.
Because that's just like secret sauce stuff right
It's a
there.
huge way I approach my coaching. Like when I'm in a one-on-one coaching relationship with someone, it's essential. Like it's personal growth is fucking torture. If you can't have fun, you're fucked. Like
Yep.
seriously. Like
Yep.
you have to be like, "Oh my god, make fun of the process, make fun of yourself, make fun of the conversation." Like and it's not that we're never serious. Of course we're serious as well, but like we're saying the balance of that, but with
Mm-hmm.
no balance of fun in life or in some kind of pursuit that you're on. This showed up in my skydiving teams all the time is that I think people would come into when I would be on like a player coach 4-way skydiving team, for example. That's a way that I used to work in skydiving and coach people and teams is they would hire me to be a professional inside of a 4-person team. So I would be flying with them and leading the group. And so many people would, because we care so much about it, they care. And trust me, I've been there, done that. We fucking care about skydiving and the team and learning and jumping. It's wonderful. And that brings in this intensity of like, we have to do it a certain way and so much attachment to outcome that I would always lead by example in terms of saying, fun and excellence are not mutually exclusive. In fact, I can test that excellence is magnified when we include an element of fun that is underpinned by a complete, staunch commitment to our goal, our shared
Absolutely.
goals. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Lightheartedness plus compassion, and compassion, it's like passion, right? Like you take the love of what you're looking to accomplish like so deeply, so truly. Like that is real. Like that love and that commitment to excellence
Yeah.
is real and it's powerful. And you can do that while being lighthearted,
Yes.
while tapping into these higher vibrations of fun. Because on all these pursuits, is anything ever going to go exactly as planned? Hell to the no, right? Like
Nope.
hell no.
Nope.
And if you are like in this heaviness, you're not going to be as nimble. You're not going to be as flexible. And the fun, the lightheartedness keeps you up here where you're able to flow and be nimble and be responsive
Yeah,
and actually perform at a higher level of excellence.
definitely.
Totally agree.
Definitely. And also, we miss out on the things that we can't think up when we control everything to its 100% degree.
Yeah.
When we have this much of a hold on something, we only can experience this.
Mm-hmm.
What's in here, what's in our control, and what we decide is what needs to happen. We miss out on all of this awesome possibility. Yeah, negative, painful possibility is certainly in this realm. Of course, like, duh, we're not like not acknowledging that bad stuff happens and that we hurt sometimes or get upset, whatever. But that if we box out all of, like, if we really control everything, we really miss out on what we can't think up, like the fun stuff that comes our way that really wasn't expected. That stuff is so valuable.
It goes hand in hand. Do you know the hack? And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but it so goes hand in hand with exactly what you were just saying about like kind of having this kind of closed myopic kind of focus on something, that it's actually a brain hack. When we have our eyes super focused, it takes us to a heightened level of kind of fight or flight
Oh,
in this.
no.
And so this is a great hack for public
Cool.
speaking. I learned this from
Excellent.
Eric Edmeades, I think is how you pronounce his name, but it goes hand in hand because it's the same thing. If you're really, imagine like all of a sudden, like you're out in the Serengeti and you're like in the grass, and all of a sudden you hear a you know, a crinkle behind you, or
Yeah.
like a step, and you turn and you think you see a lion. Like, what do you do? Like, we're so close. That kind of super focus of our eyes automatically ties to our autonomic nervous system and takes us into fight or flight.
Interesting.
If
Cool.
we relax our gaze, so if you're going on stage to speak, or if you've been practicing for this really big performance, or you know, it's our moment where maybe it's a test or whatever it is that we've been working towards and we've prepared all that we can.
Yep.
When you're about to go on stage, or when you're about to have that moment of performance,
Yep.
to relax our gaze. So don't allow yourself to focus your eyes. Relax your gaze.
Very cool.
It relaxes your whole autonomic nervous system.
Very
So it
cool.
goes hand in hand, because just like you were describing how when you're super focused on something, you kind of miss out. It's actually happening on a subconscious level. That
So
when
cool.
we do that with our eyes, we are putting ourselves into a heightened kind of fight or flight, lower
Yeah.
part of our brain experience. If
Yep.
we relax our eyes, be more with the flow and maximize our performance, because we'll be in this more centered, calm place where we are able to perform at a higher level. So
Awesome.
cool, right?
It's so cool. Yeah. And that takes it back to like the physiological skills and maintaining and recognizing and starting with the physiological awareness and the physiological skills. Cause I talk a lot about mindset, but like, how do you like deal with mindset when you're like in fight or flight? So it's so great to have those kinds of things available to be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm seeing my lights now. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the picture of my mom and me on a boat.
Yeah. And notice how
You
your
know?
breath changed. I don't know if you just noticed that,
Yeah.
but it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about how to kind of get to this kind of more of a sweet spot with our spontaneity and being in the moment and going with the flow and like
Yeah.
maximizing our performance, because it all goes hand in hand, you know, our breath is the other huge, huge, huge powerhouse tool we have best. So it goes hand in hand that even when you're not conscious of it, you do it. If you use the other hacks, you naturally will shift your breath.
Yep.
If you use your breath, you naturally will shift everything else.
Totally.
So we always have our breath available to us. And I don't know if I told you, but I have a free breathing guide on my website.
Cool.
I don't even know if
No.
I ever told you this.
That's okay. Tell us
Little
now.
shameless plug,
Guys,
but it's free.
goldevolution.com. Go
It's
check
free
it out.
because there's 4 distinct cycles of our breath. And by focusing on them and using them, we can totally hack our mind. So when you're thinking
Excellent.
about like, how do I want to hack my mindset, different cycles of our breath will do that automatically. And it's
How do
like,
people get it, Pam?
if you just go to
goldevolution.com.
goldevolution.com, there's like a box, I think on the bottom where it says like free breathing guide, and you can
Okay.
just click and sign up and it'll get sent to you. You can download
Excellent.
it.
Perfect.
I'll make sure it's there. You know, my website's did I tell you have a new website coming? New website coming. Thanksgiving.
So exciting.
Anyway, so yeah, but the breathing is key. That big big breath out kind of expels the stress, you know, and that having it be centered, your breath centered in and out will center your kind of mindset.
Mm-hmm.
on all levels.
Yeah. I love that. I'm just,
I love it. You're spontaneously
my
jumping around.
brain spontaneously went to something else
I love it.
about spontaneity. And it's so funny because I'm thinking about people and just that, again, that idea that fun is a value worth prioritizing, but like, I feel like a lot of people think it's not awesome or not good to say yes to certain things. Like it makes me think about the practice of, have you ever seen that movie with Jim Carrey, The
Mm.
Yes Man? I think I'm not
Mm-hmm.
suggesting that level of an experiment. By all means, if you're called to that level of a social experiment on yourself, go for it. But I do think it has such a useful experiment for yourself in that, is that we say no a lot for whatever
Our
reasons, lots of
preferences, what's familiar or
reasons.
unfamiliar.
Yeah, but like new experiences of any kind
Yeah.
are valuable, educational, and a lot of the times fun. Like obviously not the painful ones. I digress about that topic, but like there's so much value in a new experience. So I encourage people to say yes more.
Have you read Michael Singer ever?
I don't think so.
Oh, Michael Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment.
Oh yeah, yeah. I started reading that. Totally. I haven't finished that. I can't actually. I don't remember. I definitely didn't finish it, and I'm not sure why, but I know I started reading it. Or some, anyway, it doesn't really matter. My point is that yes, it's touched my life, and
Yeah, I mean, that
yeah,
book, I mean, it's funny. That was his second book. It kind of should have been his first book because I think it's a better starting place than Untethered Soul, which is a deeper
yep.
kind of dive
I
into
have that book
into
also.
stuff.
Yep.
But Surrender Experiment, his whole point was,
Just
you know,
stuff.
stuff, deep stuff. But how do you practice this allowing and surrendering? Like when life puts something in your path,
Yeah.
and your brain is like, no, 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 I didn't
Yep.
want that. That's not what I wanted. But like the universe, what do you say? The universe, life, whatever,
Yep.
is like, no, it's like literally saying to you, this is like, we really need you to do this. And you're like, ah. And I have examples like that. Like literally I read that book and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Cause it was one of my big things. Obviously surrender is a whole pillar in my book, but this was years before I wrote my book.
Yep.
And I had just finished that book and I had parents at my kid's school. So my son was in first grade at the time. And there was another family that kind of gotten getting
Oh,
asked if
Pam, you cut out. Another
okay,
family what?
another family got in a jam with getting their kids to school.
Okay.
And so they asked if I would drive their daughter to school each day, or at least certain days of the week. And like mornings suck. Let's be clear. Like mornings with a first grader and a third grader, it
Yep. It's
sucks.
hard.
And there was no part of me that wanted to say yes. And I had just finished this book, like literally the day before. And I was like, I'm doing this. And then I got this freaking email asking if I would help them. And
Yeah.
it's like, and this is a beautiful family that is completely deserving of support and help.
Cool. Cool.
And so I said yes. And I did not want to do it. And it was hard as hell. And then afterwards, I felt so good that I had been of service and I had done kind of the heavy lifting.
Awesome.
And it's just one little tiny micro example. But like when you look at kind of the big picture of what is this asking me to do? Is this in line with my bigger values of being of service, of being helpful, of doing lifting, even though it's uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You say yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Girl, it makes me think, and I'll say one last quote just because it made me think of it and I love it, is we can't just accept it. I forget, I'm going to butcher the quote, whatever.
It's
Something
all right.
like,
I love you for you.
yeah, spontaneous,
Spontaneous.
resurrection of the quote in my brain. Like if we want to be happy or something like that, like we can't just accept the challenges we like. We have to accept all the challenges that come our way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth. Like that comes out of like, if we are like in resistance to our life, and this is not necessarily spontaneous or whatever, but like it's an important undertone of like accepting and surrendering, as you said, like surrendering to that and accepting all the challenges that are in our lives, not just the ones that we want to accept. It's tough.
I think it goes hand in hand because it is that spontaneity to being able to say, even though this isn't what I wanted, this isn't what I planned for,
Yeah.
but here it is. And I am called on a deeper level to do it, even though my brain is like, oh, no, I don't want to do this. Can I not? I mean, and I hate to get all freaking Jesus and stuff, because I'm not a religious person in the least. But one of the things that I love about kind of the Jesus story, like, Jesus literally, you think he wanted to go to the cross? Like, if you really
Right.
read the Bible and read the story, it doesn't matter what you really freaking believe about the whole Son of God thing, because I think that's of zero importance from my perspective.
Sure.
But like, from his perspective, the way the story is explained, take it for what you want. But it's like, he knew he had to be honest, and he was given an out. Like, when he went to freaking court, they're like, all you have to do is say all the things that you've been saying are not true, and then you don't have to do the cross. You're fine. We'll let you go. And he's like, that's not true. And he literally with God, you really want of me, what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Then, all right, fine. I guess this is what I'm doing. And like, that's like obviously the most extreme freaking example ever, that like, not only am I'm not just driving someone to school for a couple months. Like, I'm literally going to be like crucified on a cross. It like sounds insane. And again, this is not religious to me in the least. It's just like the ultimate example of like, would anyone want that? Hell no. Like,
Yeah.
but the real people that like stand up for what they believe in, it's like not about what you want, what you don't want, how comfortable or uncomfortable, familiar or unfamiliar. It's like, is this true for you? Is this true for you? Then you got to do it, even if you don't want to.
And that's the distinction, because what I don't want people to hear in this small section of our commentary is that they have to do everything, because there's lots of people that are in the more taker side of the house, which is not what we are talking about. We're talking about core values, understanding our core values, and saying yes to things from there when they come our way.
Yeah, and refer to the boundaries. Refer to the boundaries conversation if you're unclear. Yes. Google us boundaries. Because the boundary conversation goes hand in hand with this. Because if you don't have good boundaries, you're screwed. So it's the boundaries and the spontaneity, the surrender that is so important.
Oh my God. And have fun. Fuck. Yes. It is worth it. It brings so much energy into your life. Please, my friends.
That's how you can enjoy each moment.
Have fun. Have more fun. Sounds so cliche, but it is so true. Have fun.
I love you, Melanie Curtis.
I love you, Pamela Gold. Goldevolution.com.
melaniecurtis.com.